So I really enjoyed it. And I appreciate what the Koreans are doing here. I really do, because it's the first time anybody's ever done anything. Y'all are interested in that show. And it's really nice that you're doing that. I really enjoy it very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Cadet Corps. I went to Korea in 1952 in May. I joined Charlie Company, 279th Infantry, 45th Division on the Alligator Jaws. That was right up about 30-some miles north of Seoul. We stayed there a while. Then we went over to Inji. This Mr. Burns and I have been talking here. He was over in that area. We could relate to some of the places we were. Then I had got a lucky break. Went back to our leadership in school back next to Juncheon, and stayed there a little while. We gave the orientation to replacements that were coming in, and also some of the men, NCOs and stuff, came back from the lines, and then I went back up next to Chorwan. We were getting ready to go back up on the line there, and the battalion commander, I've been back there, and he said, well, he said, you need to do some instruction up here. He said, I want you to teach flamethrower to our battalion. That was the most popular class that was in the training. It was January. A lot of you know how cold it was over there. And they all wanted to know, every morning when we went out, first thing they asked, when are we going to fire this weapon? You know, it's about 2,000 degrees, so you can kind of get warm just a little bit. You fire, everybody stand up there with their hands and get warm. I was sitting here, and I saw this man eating with chopsticks. It reminded me one day, we've been pulled back kind of what they call a blocking position, 2 or 3 miles behind the lines to dig trenches. Well, you know, guys have been in the line, on the line, in front of the line. It was pretty hard to get them to dig. Anyway, the KSC, that's the Korean Service Corps, carried rations up to us. We had a hot meal that day. We were sitting there, punched the guy beside me. I said, you'll never see what that Korean was eating over there. One of the Papasons was eating, and we had ice cream. He was eating ice cream with chopsticks, and the chopsticks were 2 green rice straws. I had to bring my driver with me. This is my wife. I had to have a little foot operation back in January, so she was driving me. This is my wife. Thank you for having me. I'll say this about my experiences in Korea. It was a $1 million experience. I wouldn't give you 2 cents to go back.
I made an amphibious landing in Wonsan, North Korea in November of 1950, 3rd Infantry Division. I spent the next 2 years, 2 winters I should say, in Korea. Came back in 1952. I landed there as a 17-year-old boy. Today I'm a 75-year-old boy. Got a lot of boy in me, and I'm going to keep it as long as I can. I travel all over Korea, including the Chosan Reservoir. We were in there with the 1st Marine Division. Chinese ran us out about 30 days later. Actually ran us out. They come down the hill on horseback swinging swords when they pulled us out of Wonsan, North Korea. And a story I told one of the young men here I was talking to today. I was on a rear detachment. We were burning warehouses and supplies and equipment. Couldn't get this Navy guy to crank up that little boat to get us out to the big one. And all the time he's fiddling around, they're coming down the hill with these swords. Singing, dancing, cursing, throwing rocks, whatever. And I told the guy, I said, if you don't crank up the boat, I'm going to shoot you. Hang on, he says, hang on. So he fiddled fiddled around a while and got us on the boat, and by that time, you could see the white of their eyes, and they were all Chosin Reservoir, not the Chosin Reservoir, but the Wonsan Harbor is in the shape of a big C, if I remember correctly, so many years ago. And we didn't know what was going on, but all these Chinese were coming down there and gathering on the docks on this big sea. We got about a quarter of a mile out, and he's still chugging along with the boat, and we're still threatening to shoot him. He said, well, you're going to get a show here in a minute. About that time, they blew up the harbor. I didn't know we had mined the entire harbor, and they were waiting until all these Chinese soldiers got down on the harbor on the docks before they blew it. But that was a pretty sight and made up for the delay we had. It didn't then, but it does now. That's about all I can say. I spent a lot of time in Korea. I met a lot of Korean people. Never did learn the language. So we learned how to point. They pointed back at us. We did pretty good. And appreciate what you people have done. It's a pleasure being here. We have thoroughly enjoyed it. And anything we can do to help you, follow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
My name is Jerry Rice. Obvious I'm not the football player. I was in the latter part of the war, what they call the outpost war. And one outpost called Vegas, we were 1,200 yards in front of the main line. A shell hit on a bunker. I was buried alive. When I woke up, a Navy corpsman had his finger in my mouth digging dirt out. It took me back to the aid station. I was groggy. The Reverend will appreciate this one. The chaplain came in. Said, son, are you a Christian? I said, no, sir, I'm a Presbyterian. He got a kick out of it too. The last couple of months in Korea, I was attached to the Korean Marine Corps, which was next to the United States Marine Corps, is a great organization, you know. I found the Korean people to be some of the nicest people on this planet. And I served in the Far East, I served in the Philippines, I served in Japan, and I served on Taiwan. Thank you.
I served 1 year in Korea, 1952, and our job was building airfields. We built the last airfield in up next to 38 parallel. Chuncheon, is that it? Yeah. Built a real, I forget how many, 1,000 feet it was, real big one. And I enjoyed being over there, really, and I'd like to go back. But I don't guess that'll ever happen. And that's about all I got to tell you. Thank you.
I served over there from 1952 to 54. And my job was to transport soldiers to the sea to unload supply. And I run the LCM transporting soldiers to and from the sea to the port. And it was extremely cold. I got my feet frostbit. At that time, Sigmund Reed was the president. And I would like to go back just to see what I've been heard about how they build up and everything. No complaints, and I've enjoyed, glad to have served for you all. And thanks a lot.
Thank you for your service.
Well, anyway, I spent 2 years, and I went in service of 51, March of 51, and got out in March of 53, which I was stationed up at Fort Belvoir. It was an engineer center at that particular time. And I guess I was lucky to get attached to this unit that after they finished their basic training, to come through me to show them how to build bridges and blow them up. So I done that for the entire time that I was, and I'm sure that some of those boys got killed, but anyway, it was a pontoon bridge. If anybody been there, it's a pontoon bridge that was